Are you a savings champion? Let us tell you about emerging trends in advanced spend levers. In this video, we'll be focusing on procurement's effectiveness at creating savings as identified in our 2015 CPO study. And to start, we'll look at the 4 emerging advanced spend levers of buy cheaper, buy less and buy smarter, and investigate how they compare to the old pay less workhorse. When we think of generating savings, many of us automatically think of simply paying less for goods and services. Whether we're talking about tenders, volume aggregation, or minimising contract leakage, this tried and tested method of using spending power to beat down prices has delivered significant savings over the years. But more and more, this pay less strategy is delivering diminishing returns. Our survey showed that organisations that only use pay less tactics could be missing out on anything up to a 122% increase in savings. So where will the next wave of procurement savings come from? Now's probably a good time to introduce the 3 advanced spend levers. Buy cheaper. By buy cheaper, we're talking about managing buyer behaviour to avoid premium goods and services. This means that Eric in HR just gets the standard HP notebook rather than its high-spec cousin with a super-fast processor and fancy graphics card. Or that the MD flies cattle class to that symposium in LA rather than quaffing moe in business class. Well, okay, at the very least we'll buy restricted airfares instead of fully flexible fares. While buy cheaper may lose you some friends in the organisation, it can deliver high savings, especially if you choose the right tactic. Buy smarter. Buy smarter refers to finding new solutions and efficiencies in the way goods and services are purchased and consumed. Quite often this means rethinking how we perceive cost and shifting away from per unit cost to processed cost. For example, it might seem smart to buy printed items like business cards in bulk. But what happens when titles change and all the cards are suddenly out of date? It's better to buy them in smaller batches and at a higher unit cost and avoid throwing out a large number of cards when the inevitable change in name or title occurs. Buying smarter also means finding smarter ways to manage internal purchasing and leverage supplier relationships. For example, is it really necessary that each purchase order leads to a separate invoice, or would a compiled monthly invoice do just as well? Our study further found the advantages of Buy Smarter go deeper than dollar savings alone. While they also free up internal resources, they often lead to other benefits, including improvements to quality, reduction of timeframes, and reduction of supply risks. Buy less. Buy less means reducing the actual consumption of goods and services. In practice, this could mean persuading the design department to print double-sided and reduce paper consumption. Good luck with that. Or encouraging the sales team to use video conferencing to reduce travel costs. These seemingly inconsequential changes can have a huge impact on the overall costs of running an organisation. We refer to buy cheaper, buy smarter and buy less as being advanced spend levers. They're different to the traditional approach of procurement, which is heavily focused on pay less. To pay less, organisations typically negotiate with suppliers or run a tender process. All activity is externally focused and pushes the responsibility to create savings to the suppliers. The advanced spend levers require you to look internally and to work with stakeholders in your organisation to drive down costs. Of course, there's a good reason why pay less is often the default mode for procurement. The skills required, such as engaging the external market and getting the best deal, sit comfortably within the procurement team's traditional core competencies. The advanced spend levers, on the other hand, are often outside the direct control of the traditional procurement team. These levers require the team to influence internal, sometimes very senior stakeholders to change culture, behaviour, policies and processes. But for the procurement professional who masters these advanced spend levers and the new skills that go with them, the rewards are great, not just cost savings, but a host of other benefits too. Let's see what that means for you. We've analysed the responses of 81 leading organisations in Australia and New Zealand. Combined, these organisations spend almost 9 billion Australian dollars per year. Through using the 4 spend levers, they've realised combined savings of $1.3 billion Australian per year. That's 14% of the overall spend. This is what we found in our study. If you solely concentrate on pay less strategies, you won't be able to generate any additional savings. Yes, when market testing services for the first time, your organisation may reap savings of about 20%. The second time around, you may still save 8%, but it becomes clear that there are diminishing returns from market testing. Industry organisations who haven't used the buy cheaper spend lever to date can save an additional 13% per year doing so. And if you haven't been using Buy Smarter, it's time to start doing so. This will yield an additional 16% per annum. But we found the most powerful spend lever is Buy Less. Organisations who've introduced Buy Less tactics were able to save 44% more on average than those who haven't. So surely everyone would focus on advanced spend levers and Buy Less in particular, right? Well, let's see. 83% of the participants in this study used Pay Less to beat down prices. 2 in 3 also used Buy Cheaper. But only every second organisation implemented Buy Smarter tactics, and now, wait for it, only 1 in 4 organisations uses the most powerful spend lever of all, Buy Less. Did this make it clear to you where your next wave of procurement savings will come from? OK, so all well and good. But what is it that you should do tomorrow? Well, that really depends on your industry. If you're a public sector or industry organisation, you should put initiatives into place to reduce the volume and quantity of goods and services consumed. That may double your annual savings. If you're a services company, get a handle on your consumption patterns to support better planning. That will increase your savings by a third. While industry and services companies are already good at utilising the buy cheaper spend lever, this should be a main focus for the public sector. Just by introducing internal policies and controls to make sure fit for purpose is bought instead of bells and whistles solutions, that will double your annual savings. The benefits of Buy Smarter are highest for industry and public sector. Think about how you can streamline the way the good or service is consumed internally to reduce your admin cost. Again, this will double your savings if you're in the public sector. We also found that, on average, organisations who use Buy Smarter receive one additional benefit in the form of higher quality, quicker delivery, better relationships, lower risk, higher innovation, as opposed to those organisations who don't use Buy Smarter. So, how's your organisation going? Are you generating as many savings as you possibly can? Are you a savings champion? To find out, use our free benchmarking tool. You can compare yourself to the participants of our study and find out how you can save more. We're sure you've found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, let us know.